Speedway Park is the Australian Southern Zone Salo final heat. And out there we've got the first heat, brought to you by Winfield, Lou Sansom, Robert Hitchcock, Von Vibra, Phil Crump, and Crump down in front of the other riders and takes that very early lead. Crump, who is one of Australia's best riders, proving himself in England, twice Australian champion. He was best pairs runner-up in the World Championship with South Australia, Johnny Bolger. But Phil Crump is away. Phil Crump from Adelaide, Lou Sansom in second place. And in third, it's Robert Hitchcock from Western Australia, and then Von Vibra from Tasmania. That's Lou Sansom, who's running second at the moment. So there's the race leader around. There's 3/4 of the lap to go. In that bottom corner, it's Phil Crump, and he's in no danger whatsoever. He's 75 metres in front of Lou Sansom. You can see the style of Phil Crump. Nothing stopped. Flat out all the way. And there he is, Victoria, Phil Crump, with Lou Sansom just in front of Robert Hitchcock from Western Australia. So it's Phil Crump first from Victoria. Second is Sansom from South Australia. And third, Hitchcock from Western Australia. So there's no stopping Phil Crump in that first heat. And we're just standing by for a time. It is Phil Crump first, Lou Sansom second, and Hitchcock third, and the time 51.4. And through the night there are 5 heats for each rider, and 3 points for first, 2 for second, and 1 for third. Second heat in just a moment. The second heat of the Australian Southern Zone Salo final, and these are riders from Victoria, Western Australia, Tasmania and South Australia, and they meet a little later on 14th of February in Brisbane for the Australian final, the winners, the top 8 from the Northern final, and then with the Australasian final against New Zealand on the 28th at Liverpool and Sydney. Here we are for the second heat. On the inside, Bolger, next to him from the west, Glenn Taylor, Victoria, Tim Noonan, and South Australia's Kevin O'Connell, who had a nasty spill just 2 weeks ago, breaking 4 bones in his foot. But he's got a clearance to ride, and let's see how he goes. In fact, he's just gone through the tapes. He moved a little too high, and the starter has allowed him to go through the tapes and line up again. But O'Connell with 4 broken bones in his foot. A nasty spill. There were 3 bikes involved about 2 weeks ago. I think it was O'Connell and Boyle locked together, and a third bike ran over the top of the 2 of them. Here we go. O'Connell's slow up the start, but it's Johnny Bolger, South Australia's #1, who missed out by the South Australian Championship with his front forks breaking, which was a rather unique accident, and I think it robbed him of the title because he obtained maximum points in each of the heats that he rode. Here comes John Bolger, no fear of defeat at the moment. In second place we've got Tim Noonan from Victoria, and then Kevin O'Connell, and Glenn Taylor from the west is having a bike problem, hasn't got the power at the moment. The unique style of Johnny Bolger. There he goes out of pit corner, coming up to the starter for the second time. He's got 1 to go. Each heat over 3 laps, 3 points for first, 2 for second, and 1 for third. And the top 8 riders go to Brisbane on the 14th of February for the big Australian final to go to the for the World Championship in Wembley. Here it is, Johnny Bolger. Johnny Bolger first, then Kevin O'Connell with a good ride. No, I'm sorry, it's not. It is Glenn Taylor, I think. Tim Noonan from Victoria, sorry, Tim Noonan, then Kevin O'Connell. Tim Noonan is second, Noonan second, and O'Connell third. That's heat 2. Mark Fiora. Oh, and that's Chris Higgs from Tasmania, went up and away. Lost the start altogether, can't see him, he's underneath the fence. He's right inside the fence there, but his bike just reared up. I think he might have hit the back of his head by the look of him. Could have a king-size headache by the looks. Well, we're out again there with Chris Higgs from Tasmania, where his bike reared. He's got another bike, but he certainly was feeling his head afterwards. So let's go again for heat 3 with Kennedy, McKeon, Fiora and Higgs. And Fiora, a young dasher, but have a look at Kennedy on the inside. Kennedy from McKeon, Fiora, and then Higgs, who fell at the start early. But Danny Kennedy being hotly pushed by Mick McKeon from the west. And McKeon, who had a nasty... Here they go underneath. Mick McKeon underneath Kennedy. And they're side by side going to that top corner. And McKeon gets the advantage. Going on the inside. But Kennedy coming back at him down the back straight. Half a length between them. McKeon goes high, cuts down into the corner, leaving Kennedy a little, about 3 or 4 lengths back, but that forces McKeon high, and Kennedy coming back. There's a front wheel for the difference. And now it's Kennedy from McKeon. This is a great heat. Kennedy and McKeon really fighting out, and Fiora sticking with them. Fiora, a young lad, not even 18 yet. He's first year at Speedway Park. And around they come. Red, Danny Kennedy from Mick McKeon and young Mark Fiora. What a great heat. And bringing up the tail is Chris Higgs. But what a magic heat from Kennedy, McKeon, Kennedy. And that's the way they went around the track for 3 laps. But Kennedy taking out the event from Mick McKeon and Mark Fiora. All credit to young Mark, his first season here at Speedway Park. And he kept up with these guys who had international experience. And a good ride from Mark Fiora for 3rd place. That's the 3rd heat of the Australian Southern Zone Solo Final, brought to you by Winfield and Ansett. On the inside, we've got Mark Williams, Tony Boyle in 2nd spot, Rob Maxfield, who I tip as this heat winner, and Terry Tulloch from Victoria. Lining up for this 4th heat. There are 5 lots of 4 heats. Oh, and away they go. And Maxfield almost took the tape, but the gate sprung up in front of him. But around the outside, it's young Terry Tulloch from Victoria. He has really moved away. Tony Boyle's bike's gone. In fact, the red light, yes, the red light has come on. And I would suggest that would be the start of Maxfield, because he was starting to creep over the line. The gate went up and gave him that slight advantage. And I know that's the way the steward saw it. So I'll have a restart in heat 4 with Williams from the west, Tony Boyle from Adelaide, and Rob Maxfield from Adelaide, and Terry Tulloch from Victoria. The sun is shining here at Victoria Park. A very hot night. We've had a lot of thundery clouds around, no rain, and the track is in A1 condition for this big Australian Southern Zone Solo Final. Great to be host here at Speedway Park. 2 big sponsors amongst many, many others, the Winfield 25s and Ansett Airlines of Australia, flying many of these young lads into Speedway Park. So lining up again for heat 4 of the Australian Southern Zone Solo Final. And I thought Tulloch had got a tremendous start there until I saw that the others had pulled up on the red light. But this is the restart with Mark Williams on the inside, Tony Boyle, Rob Maxfield and Terry Tulloch lining up well. Tip Maxfield for this one. Fresh back from the UK, a very successful season. So has Tony Boyle, who was nominated the best rider in the club that he's with, Stokes, in the UK. Here we go. Whoops, Tony Boyle almost broke it. That would have been disqualification. He's gone back and the gate goes up. And I think Tony Boyle's got the advantage. Number 31, the blue cap. But they're all clumped together, and Tony's going to have to ride hard. But around the outside goes Rob Maxfield. Down the back straight. The white helmet on the outside. Tony Boyle underneath Maxfield. Side by side they come out of pit corner with Maxfield at advantage. And right in behind them is Mark Williams from the west. But it's Rob Maxfield now. Tony Boyle going high, and Williams from the west comes up into 2nd place. So it's 1, 2 and 3, Maxfield, Williams and Boyle. Into pit corner, slowing down slightly for that corner. They've got sun in the eyes now. Maxfield, Williams, Boyle and Tulloch over the line with 1 lap to go. Rob Maxfield, South Australia. Mark Williams, Western Australia. Tony Boyle, his bike went off song there for a moment. And Tulloch from Victoria trying to come up underneath them. But there's Maxfield out of pit corner. And Maxfield will win with Williams 2nd. And I give it to Tulloch from Victoria 3rd. Tony Boyle beaten on the line for 3rd placing. So Tony Boyle is going to miss out on a placing that time. So we've got Maxfield first from South Australia. Williams from Western Australia is 2nd. And Terry Tulloch from Victoria is 3rd. And with me at this microphone. Sansom is disqualified to start, and who gets the advantage? And it is Terry Tulloch from Victoria, but around the outside is JB, South Australia's own. And the way he leans in that bike, turns his whole body to get the bike into the right position, and going around and there's John Bolger coming out of pit corner. And then we've got Terry Tulloch from Victoria, and Mark Fura in front of Lou Sansom. Young Fura, daredevil rider. And another year or two of experience, and he's going to be a rider to be really watched here in Australia. The JB way out in front from Terry Tulloch from Victoria. And then Mark Fura and Lou Sansom not riding at his very best at all in this heat. Half a lap to go. John Bolger for the Taylor team and Ansett. And Ansett, one of the big sponsors of tonight's meeting, Ansett Airlines of Australia. John Bolger a long way in front of Terry Tulloch from Victoria and Mark Fura, and finally Lou Sansom. So no stopping. A very tight start with Tulloch, Sansom and Bolger, and Fura was in there too. But very early, within a half a lap, Bolger was out and around and in front of Terry Tulloch, and that's the way they came home. So it's John Bolger first, Terry Tulloch second, and Mark Fura third in the fifth heat of the Australian Southern Zone Solo Final. And up on the boards is Tim Noonan with the yellow helmet. Right, pulling up to the line. Starter bringing Noonan up a little closer. Waiting for the start. He walks away. Tony Boyle very anxious on the inside. He wants to score in this heat. And Tony Boyle gets away, but I think Kennedy got the advantage around the outside. He has, and away goes Tony Kennedy with Robert Hitchcock behind him. And Hitchcock trying to throw it around the outside. It's Hitchcock from Kennedy coming into pit corner. Look at that, just by half a length. And it's Hitchcock from Perth, who's absolutely throwing that bike around the track. Then Kennedy, Tony Boyle in third place, just in front of Timmy Noonan from Victoria. There's still Hitchcock from Perth, taking it down the back straight, 1.5 to go. Into pit corner, and extending that lead, all going very high in pit corner, right up close to the boards, but Kennedy's still sufficient distance back not to worry him. Tony Boyle has dropped back to last with Noonan third, but half a lap to go now as they go down the back straight. And Robert Hitchcock leading Kennedy, a merry chase in this one. Here's going to be a tight finish, but I think Hitchcock's got enough. He has, and it's Hitchcock from Western Australia. Kennedy second, and Noonan followed by Boyle. And Boyle's looking down at his machine as if there may be a problem down there. But that was a great ride. Western Australia's Robert Hitchcock takes first place in the fifth heat. Then second place to Danny Kennedy, and third place to Tim Noonan from Victoria. So that's the way they come home. Hitchcock, Kennedy and Noonan in the sixth heat of this solo final here at Speedway Park. Heat of the Southern Zone final. Mick McKeon on the inside. Mark Williams next to him, then Glyn Taylor, all three from Western Australia. And up on the boards is Von Bibra from Tasmania. Starter trying to bring them up. Williams moving up just a fraction. Starter walks away, waiting for the gate. And it goes up, it springs up, and rearing up is Glyn Taylor from Western Australia, but it's McKeon who gets away very quickly. A serious injury in the UK in our winter season, but he's certainly back on deck and riding well tonight. Mick McKeon from Western Australia, bringing them around. In second place, we've got Glyn Taylor from Western Australia, the white helmet. Right in behind him is Mark Williams, we'll see them in the corner there. That's McKeon, going around the bottom corner, down the back straight. Coming into pit corner. McKeon, beautiful style. Left foot just to the front of the bike. In second place, the white helmet of Glyn Taylor from the west. So we've got the Western Australians taking the first three places at the moment. But Mick McKeon is a mile in front of these other two. And the bike of, whose was that? Glyn Taylor pulled up and almost took Williams with him. And there it is, McKeon, Mick McKeon. Coming into second place is Williams. And third would be Von Bibra from Tasmania. But that bike of Glyn Taylor has pulled up so quickly, and Williams was behind him, almost took Williams down with him. But here comes Williams trying to push himself across the line, and the official placings. Mick McKeon first. We have Mark Williams from Western Australia second, and Dean Von Bibra from Tasmania third in the seventh heat of the big final event here at Speedway Park. Proper. Rural Chrysler, Cladar and Blue Beacon looking for the lead also, and Dusty Man down the extreme out. The hot tip here tonight also. There's 2 or 3 of them. Bolger, Crump and McKeon, I think, would be the 3 favourites. Kevin O'Connell next to him from Adelaide. Chris Higgs from Tasmania. Up on the boards, Rob Maxfield also must be in contention. There goes the gate. McKeon's away. So is Maxfield from the fence. Maxfield cutting down in front of O'Connell, and he's got a chase. Crump now. Phil Crump, Robert Maxfield. Then Kevin O'Connell, Chris Higgs to the back. Round they come. That's the blue helmet of O'Connell third. In front of him is Maxfield, and right up the front is Phil Crump. Who's going to stop him? And I don't think Maxfield can do it. He's 50 metres behind, 1.5 laps to go. You can see the distance there in the picture as they come into pit corner. Crump throws it around the corner, down the straight again to receive the yellow flag. 1 lap to go. In second place we've got Robert Maxfield. There's Phil Crump, really churning up the track. His bike's performing well. The bike of Chris Hicks from Tasmania is gone. He's pulled out, so we've got 3 runners now. Phil Crump from Victoria, Victoria number 1. Then we've got Rob Maxfield from South Australia, and third to Kevin O'Connell, also from South Australia. That's the end of the second round of the Southern Zone final. Official placings, Crump from Victoria first, Maxfield from South Australia second, and O'Connell also from South Australia third. Having a look at the status quo at the moment, and the favourites are coming home in Bolger, McKeon, Crump. Maxfield took out a first place in his first round, could only manage a second against Crump in his second round. So how are we standing, Sue, with the points, maximum points at the moment?
Yes, your maximum boys are Crump on 6, 2 rides, 2 wins. Bolger on 6, ditto, 2 rides, 2 wins. And then you have, in this order, although they both finished with 5, you have Robbie Maxfield, because he had a win in his first ride and a second in his second. Then the other way around, you had Mick McKeon had a second in his first ride and a first in his second ride. So in this order, it's Crump, Bolger, Maxfield and McKeon at this stage.
And it's still coming home the way you reckon? Australia's Rob Maxfield, South Australia's Lou Sansom. Up on the boards, Western Australia's Mick McKeon. This will be an interesting heat. Maxfield, fresh from the UK. Sansom, that knows this track very well. McKeon, who's a pretty hot rider. Let's have a look at them as the gate goes up. And it's Maxfield who gets the break from Lou Sansom. And around the outside goes McKeon. He came off the boards. He came down too wide. And away goes Mick McKeon from Western Australia. Let's see if Maxfield can catch him. Lou Sansom is back into 4th place now as Tim Noonan from Victoria comes through into 3rd. There we go. Maxfield leading in that little gathering there, the blue helmet, but way out in front is Mick McKeon from Western Australia. Next to your screen, there's McKeon, and going very high, but Maxfield's not close enough to worry him. No way in the world. 1 lap to go. Lou Sansom, unfortunately, bringing up the rear, just hasn't got it tonight. But Mick McKeon is away, and Rob Maxfield's not going to catch him. Mick McKeon coming into this last corner in the pit corner. Mick McKeon from Western Australia takes the checkered flag in this 9th heat. Then Robert Maxfield. And third would be Tim Noonan from Victoria. And last is Lou Sansom of South Australia. So Mick McKeon coming off the boards didn't matter to him at all. Mick McKeon from Western Australia was first. Maxfield from South Australia second. And third, Tim Noonan from Victoria in the 9th heat of the Southern Zone Solo Final, brought to you by ANZ Airlines of Australia, who've greatly assisted in transporting a lot of the riders across to Adelaide from interstate, and of course Winfield 25s. Mark Williams from Western Australia, and from the west, Robert Hitchcock here with the yellow helmet up on the boards. Lining up now. Hitchcock just going up to the line. The starter bringing him up, making sure the line is even. He'll walk through. A lot of smoke coming out of Chris Higgs from Tasmania. Laying out of screen, and Bolger gets away. JB, South Australia's number 1, who retired last year, and he's come back this year, missing out on the South Australian Championship with broken forks. Around they come. Into 2nd place goes Robert Hitchcock from Western Australia. He's a pretty wild, hairy rider. Moving up into 2nd place on the outside of his teammate Mark Williams. Mark Williams comes back at him on the inside, pushes Hitchcock a little high. He has to button off. Back into 3rd place. John Bolger, bring them around again. Pit corner we come. in second place. And going very fast that corner is Mark Williams. Must have made up several metres on John Bolger. 1 lap to go. John Bolger, Mark Williams, Robert Hitchcock, and up the back is Chris Hicks. Just can't match the pace of John Bolger tonight. In fact, I think there could be a problem with his bike. Just hasn't got the power tonight. John Bolger bringing them around once again for more maximum points. John Bolger. In white, we've got Mark Williams, and then Robert Hitchcock from Western Australia, and Chris Hicks from Tasmania. John Bolger, twice in the Australian champion, 8 times South Australian champion. Could have been 9 this season if his forks hadn't broken, which was rather a unique incident. In second place, we've got Mark Williams from Western Australia, and third, also from the West, Robert Hitchcock. 1, 2 and 3 for the 10th heat of the Southern Zone solo final. One bike's got a problem. 11th heat. Kevin O'Connell just getting a push start. He'll come up into position 1, red from 1. South Australia's Mark Fiora. And this young lad from the Murray Bridge Club in the country, 50 miles from Adelaide, has certainly shown his straps here at Speedway Park this season. He's blue on 2. Then we've got Tasmania's Dean Von Bibra, white from 3, and South Australia's Tony Boyle. And Tony disappointing. He came back from Stokes in the UK, where he received Best Rider for the Year during our winter, and came back and did very, very well. Took out the South Australian Championship on his first night back, and tonight just hasn't put it together. Rather disappointing, no doubt. Tony's very disappointed with his act too. We're standing by for Kevin O'Connell to come up to the line. In fact, I think his bike has been changed over. Yes, they're at the pit gate now, so we'll just take a pause and be back. Oh, in fact, we'll have a quick chat with Susie.
Kevin O'Connell's got a new bike, David, so he's probably having a few teething problems with it.
Right.
He's courtesy of Peter Gosling Motorcycles. He's got a fully imported Godden 4-valve, so he's probably having trouble with it, and at this stage it looks like he's on his spare bike.
He's brought out his spare one. Right, there's Kevin at the gate. One of his crew is there trying to get it going. And Kevin having a bit of a problem. In fact, I think he's pulled out. Looks like he has, which is disappointing. Yeah, Kevin O'Connell is out. So our first reserve will come in, and Graham Mutton is the reserve in the red and white leathers, just coming into the picture now. So Mutton will replace Kevin O'Connell. Kevin would be disappointed too. Tony Boyle coming back into line. He went for a bit of a ride to keep his motor cool, and the clutch. They're lining up now, and away we go. Mark Fiora got a reasonably start, so did Mutton on the inside, but around the outside. This could be Tony Boyle's heat. Let's have a look at it. Tony Boyle came off the boards. He's leading now from Dean Von Bibra from Tasmania. And then in second place, we've got, third place rather, Mark Fiora, and then the reserve, Graham Mutton. Round we go again. Tony Boyle from Von Bibra. Mark Fiora about to make a tackle on Von Bibra. There he is, Tony Boyle, the yellow helmet. And Fiora trying to get underneath Von Bibra. And he's forced Von Bibra. Oh, look at that. Von Bibra has lost his pedal. And he got back onto it absolutely beautifully. He was lying horizontal to the ground across the seat of the bike. Lost a lot of ground. And here goes Fiora underneath Tony Boyle. Can the young lad do it? The crowd are really barracking him. He has done it. This is young Mark Fiora, who's got a tremendous future in solo racing. And Fiora has done it. And a tremendous cheer for the crowd. Bad luck, Tony Boyle. And from Tasmania, we've got Dean Von Bibra, who revived from that horizontal flight that he had a lap before the finish. So what a finish there. We've got young Mark Fiora from Murray Bridge riding here at Speedway Park for the first season. He's not 18 yet. Mark Fiora first, Tony Boyle second, and from Tasmania, Dean Von Bibra, and third was Graham Mutton, the reserve. That's heat 11 of the Southern Zone solo final. Right, the 12th heat of the Australian Southern Zone solo final, and it's the end of the third round. On the inside, we've got Terry Tulloch from Victoria, then Phil Crump and Daniel Kennedy. Glenn Taylor is out, and second reserve Mark Martin is in on the boards. Standing by, starter did walk away. No, Tulloch has put his hand up. He's got a problem. Tulloch on the inside, backing up. The other guys back up as they slacken off the throttle. No, he lost power on the line, so the other boys will just go for a quick ride. Well, has he got the power? Yes, he has. The starter sending them back. And we'll have a start again in heat 12. Phil Crump must be the tip here, although Danny Kennedy rode so well in his last heat. Kennedy, he came second to Hitchcock. In his second heat, came first to McKeon in his first heat. So this will be a good duel between Crump and Kennedy. They're in position 2 and 3. Crump with a blue helmet, Kennedy with a white. Started bringing Martin up, walks away, gate goes up, and away they go. Phil Crump gets the run. Going around the outside is Kennedy. He's got the long way to go around the outside of Terry Tulloch. And now those two are together with Crump in front of Kennedy, and Kennedy's sticking with him at the moment, going a little higher than Crump. And, oh, there goes Tulloch. Well, very, very high. Did he come off or no? Yes, he did. He went down. He's gone up into the board. St John's have run to him, and the race has been stopped. The race has been stopped. And that would be Mark Martin, who went up into the fence.
We have a replay.
But just have a look. St John's quickly into the scene. That'll be young Mark Martin, I think, that went into the fence. Just laying there at the moment, but St John's will check him very, very quickly. Make sure he is okay. But thankfully they're here. We'll be back in a moment with a restart of Heat 12. Was a stretcher case, so we'll try and get a report on him for you, let you know how he got on. So we've got lining up now, no reserve. Victoria Terry Tulloch on the inside with the red helmet. Phil Crump with the blue, and Danny Kennedy with the white. All the Victorians, Heat 12 of the Southern Zone Solo Final. Up to the line, green light is on, the gate is up, and Phil Crump gets that early lead once again, and crouching down is Danny Kennedy trying to get around the outside. Crump keeps a line about 3 or 4 metres out from the gutter, and that forces Kennedy to go up high. He's had to drop back a little bit now. So it's all Phil Crump, Victoria, Danny Kennedy and Terry Tulloch. Round they go again. Phil Crump certainly pouring everything he's got into that machine. Lifted the wheel there for a fraction of a second, the front wheel. Danny Kennedy second, and fairway back now is Terry Tulloch. It's a hot pace. It's going to be a good time, I think. 1 lap to go. No further incidents. Phil Crump knows that Kennedy's fairly close, but Kennedy's not going to catch him. Crouching right down. Try and get rid of the wind resistance. Catching up a little bit, leaving the power on in this corner, but I think Crump is too far ahead. And it is. It's Phil Crump first, Kennedy second, a great ride. And Terry Tulloch just coming across the line now, so some distance back to Terry Tulloch. All three riders from Victoria. First to Phil Crump, second Danny Kennedy, and third to Terry Tulloch, with a fall of Mark Martin. And we'll have a report on his condition as soon as we can. He's been taken to the ambulance room, and we'll let you know his condition as soon as possible. We want the top 8 riders to go to Brisbane, February the 14th, for the Australian final, where the Northern Zone finalists will fight it out with the Southern Zone finalists, the top 8 from here tonight, and then the Australasian final at Liverpool and Sydney on February the 28th. Let's go with Chris Higgs, Tony Boyle and Lou Sansom. On the inside we've got Mutt, a replacement for Glyn Taylor, but it's Lou Sansom. He's got his act together in this heat. That's good to see. Then we've got Mutton, who started on the inside. Tony Boyle is leading them, is third. No, he's fourth at the moment. But Lou Sansom, bring them around. Then we've got Mutt, Tony Boyle, and at the back we've got Chris Higgs from Tasmania. Well, at last, Lou Sansom has got his act together, and he's just streaking away now. He should have been doing this the last couple of heats that he's been in, because he knows this track well, and he's won many races here at Speedway Park. 1 lap to go, and Lou Sansom's got this race shot to pieces. Graham Mutton, as a reserve, is doing well in front of, I think, no, that's not a Tony Boyle ride. We'll just try and pick that up for you. At the back is Chris Higgs. Round they come again, and it is Lou Sansom first, Graham Mutton second, and we've got another reserve in there. It is Mark Martin. We thought who fell last time, but it was Victorian Terry Tulloch. So it's Martin who is third, ahead of Chris Higgs from Tasmania. So we've got Sansom first in Heat 13. Then we've got Mutton, who was second. That's Graham Mutton, and Mark Martin third. The 2 reserves in that race. Lou Sansom taking that event at 55.4. Has fallen back into second place, and I think it's Mick McKeon. Yes, Mick McKeon is away, out in front. Mick McKeon from Robert Hitchcock both riders from Western Australia. And McKeon streaking away from Mutton, and at the back, Kevin O'Connell. O'Connell had a very nasty fall here 2 weeks ago, broke 4 bones in his foot. How he's riding tonight, I don't know, but he got his clearance. Mick McKeon, but hotly tackled by Hitchcock from Western Australia. There's 5 lengths between them. Bike's gone down there. That would be Kevin O'Connell. He wouldn't be happy with that, nor would his foot, I wouldn't think. Trying to get off the track quickly. The boys are coming around in the pit corner, and you'll catch O'Connell there on the side of the track. But it's McKeon again. Takes event 14 from Hitchcock. And Graham Mutton has taken 3rd place. Right, official place. Almost a break by the tapes. Maxfield's on the inside. He could have been disqualified. Von Vibra, Danny Kennedy from Victoria. And up on the boards is Johnny Bolger. Great heat in the Southern Zone semi-final. Bolger coming down. Oh, they're almost locked together there with Kennedy and also Maxfield, who took off from the pole. But around they go. JB being hotly pressed by Kennedy. He's right in there behind him. Little way back to Rob Maxfield, running 3rd. And up the back is Von Vibra from Tasmania. But JB, look at that position that he holds on the bike. Leans his whole body into the bike to make it perform. Kennedy right in behind him, about 2 lengths of difference. Bolger going high, Kennedy looking for a run underneath, and it could be... it's Bolger by a nose at the moment, 1 lap to go, and Bolger cuts down on Kennedy. The way to keep him out, John Bolger goes high into the centre of the track. Kennedy again, 2 lengths behind him. Way back to Rob Maxfield and Von Vibra up the back. Oh, John Bolger leaps his bike out of that corner. Spectacular driving. Bolger does it again in front of Kennedy. And then 3rd place to Rob Maxfield. And Von Vibra just couldn't keep up with the pace of that one, with Bolger still on maximum points. But Kennedy, let's not detract from him, pushed Bolger every second of the way. Almost took him in the 2nd lap. But Bolger leaping out of that pit corner in the last lap takes 3 points. Heat 15, John Bolger 1st from South Australia, Danny Kennedy 2nd from Victoria, and from South Australia again, Rob Maxfield for Heat 15 of the Southern Zone Solo Final. This is the end of the 4th round, Heat 16. Mark Fiora on the inside, Tim Noonan, Phil Crump. See what Fiora can do with Phil Crump, and Mark Williams from the west. Whoops-a-daisy. Tim Noonan nearly goes through. Up goes a gate. From 3rd spot is Phil Crump. Fiora drops back into 3rd place. And it looks like he could be 4th too. Phil Crump flying around. Phil Crump's got this race once again. And within 3/4 of a lap, Phil Crump, who came from 3rd spot with a white helmet. Then we've got Tim Noonan from Victoria. And around the outside goes Noonan. That's Mark Williams at 3rd place from Western Australia. And up the back, Mark Fiora. That's a pretty hot pace. There's Phil Crump setting. Coming around to the yellow flag again with 1 lap to go. 1 lap. Phil Crump from Tim Noonan, from Mark Williams and Mark Fiora. And poor young Mark Fiora just can't put it together in this heat. Phil Crump has streaked away. Coming up to the checkered flag, Phil Crump of Victoria, again on maximum points. Tim Noonan from Victoria. And from Western Australia, Mark Williams and Mark Fiora from South Australia. So Heat 16, and it's going to be a mighty fine runoff at the end, with Phil Crump and John Bolger still tied up on maximum points. First was Phil Crump from Victoria, 2nd Tim Noonan from Victoria, and 3rd from Western Australia, Mark Williams. That's Heat 16 in this Southern Zone Solo Final. Just looking at the final heats, see if, yes, Crump, Bolger, Boyle, and no, Tony Boyle's not riding again tonight, and McKeon will be riding that last heat. That will be a beauty. So they will certainly determine a winner out of that one. So that's the end of the 4th round. End of the 4th round of the Australian Southern Zone Solo Final. Round of the big solo final here at Speedway Park, and they're lining up, Susie, what very quickly at the head of the table, Bolger and Crump.
That's it. 4 points, 4 rides, 4 wins. They're both on 12. Then you've got Maxfield. No, hang on, sorry, you've got Mick McKeon from Perth on 11, he's 3rd, and Maxfield on 8, 4th.
Thanks, Susie. Right, let's have a look at this last heat. Sansom, Martin, Williams and Kennedy. Kevin O'Connell's out. He fell in the last heat of his and hurt his foot again, the one with 4 broken bones. So he's out for the rest of the night. And Lou Sansom does it. They've only done it earlier in the night. Lou Sansom gets away very quickly. And going around the outside is Mark Williams from Western Australia. Here they come around with 2 laps to go. Right in behind him is Williams from the west, looking for maximum points. We've got Danny Kennedy. Danny Kennedy from Victoria, and right at the back is Mark Martin, who's reserve in this heat. Lou Sansom bring them around again. And this could be his race. Going up very high this time with 1 lap to go. Round they come again. Oh, big deal here for minor placings. This is a great finish. It's Lou Sansom who doesn't know what's happening behind him. Lou Sansom. Lou Sansom. Danny Kennedy took up second place after Williams leading for about 2.5 laps. So it's Lou Sansom from South Australia first. Danny Kennedy from Victoria is second. And Williams from Western Australia is third. So, yep, 18. Heat 18. Heat 18 of the Australian Southern Zone solo final, brought to you by Winfields and NZ Airlines of Australia. On the inside, we've got Mutton replacing Taylor. Then we've got Fiora on the inside, Hitchcock, then Mutton, and Maxfield up on the board. Let's see what Maxfield can do. Can he come down? Can Fiora take this event from the inside? Gets a good start. So does Maxfield from the top. And also Hitchcock from Western Australia. But it's Maxfield, a South Australian, who gets away from Robert Hitchcock from Western Australia, then Mark Fiora, and up the back gets Graham Mutton. Oh, there's a bike that's Maxfield. His bike went off song for a minute, and Hitchcock from Western Australia went right around the outside. Fiora third, and Mutton at the back. And I think Maxfield's bike could be off a little bit. He's just not able to make any gains on Hitchcock from Western Australia. But he's riding flat out. Round we come again. Hitchcock from Western Australia. And then to Maxfield, just in the corner of the picture there. Mark Fiora trying to make it out on Maxfield. He almost did it in that corner. Couldn't quite make it. Round we come. The leader of the race, Robert Hitchcock from Western Australia, is going to take maximum points in this one. And he does. Robert Maxfield. And Mark Fiora takes third place. And Mark has had a good night. It's his first Southern Zone final. And he's performed so very, very well. We'll check his final points a little later. But it's Robert Hitchcock from Western Australia first, then Maxfield from South Australia second, and Fiora is third. 53.7 at time, so quite a brisk time. And Graham Mutton, the reserve, is fourth. Heat 18 of the Southern Zone solo final. Only 3 runners in this Heat 19, with the scratchings of Chris Higgs from Tasmania, Terry Tulloch from Victoria, and Mark Martin taking his place with a blue helmet, and Von Bibra from the inside, Tim Noonan from up on the boards. It's a race in 3, and Tim Noonan, the yellow helmet, going away from the other 2 riders. Tim Noonan from Victoria. In second place, the red helmet of Von Bibra from Tasmania, and bringing up the rear is Mark Martin, the reserve, coming in replacing Chris Higgs. Terry Tulloch had no replacement. Round we go again. There's no challenge at the moment. In fact, there'll be no challenge to Tim Noonan. If he keeps his bike on the track, he's got this race shot to pieces. Comes out of that corner very easily. Then it's Von Bibra. Not too far behind is Mark Martin with 1 lap to go. A very forward stance of Tim Noonan from Victoria. Now he lays it over a little bit. Left foot just trailing a fraction, back onto the rest, and takes the checkered flag. Victoria, Tim Noonan, Von Bibra from Tasmania, and Mark Martin, the reserve. So official placings for Heat 19 with 1 to go in this Australian Southern Zone of solo final. Tim Noonan from Victoria first, from Tasmania, Dean Von Bibra, and Mark Martin third at Heat 19. This is the final heat. And this is the race we've been waiting for. Bolger and Crump with McKeon in there too. Let's see how they perform, and this will be a beauty. Bolger, the local boy who knows the track backwards, he's got the inside run. Crump on the boards. The green light is on, the gate is up. Crump gets a reasonably good start. McKeon in the middle, and off the boards comes Crump, and Bolger's got his work cut out now. He had the inside run. Round the outside goes McKeon. Crump coming back. Bolger coming back at McKeon into second place. Round we go. Crump, Bolger from McKeon. McKeon's got the inside run. Almost went there. Crump bringing them around. Bolger's really got his work cut out. He's laying down on his bike. Sits up a little more for the corners. Now he drops down again. But Crump's extending his lead around there in front of Bolger. Crump's going to be the overall winner of this Australian Zone final, the Southern Zone final. Phil Crump from John Bolger, Mick McKeon from West Australia, and the other rider has disappeared. He can't keep up with it. There he goes now, Graham Mutt in the reserve. Phil Crump is going to have maximum points on a marvellous night here at Speedway Park. Phil Crump from Victoria, certainly an international, a great Australian rider. Phil Crump from Victoria, John Bolger from South Australia, and Mick McKeon from Western Australia. Great representation from the three states. And what a great race it was. John Bolger starting from pole, Phil Crump coming off the boards. Crump got the early jump, and that's the way he brought them home. Phil Crump from Victoria was first, John Bolger from South Australia second, and Mick McKeon from Western Australia third. And we're going to have a look at point scores in just a moment. There will be runoffs for numerous placings in just a rough tally. There are several riders tied up, Robert Maxfield and Robert Hitchcock from Western Australia. They're tied up. Sansom and Williams from West Australia are tied up. So let's check it for you in just a moment. Right after that final heat, the Australian Southern Zone solo final, we've got another heat, which is a runoff for 8th place. So with Susie O'Malley, I think we'll have a look at the top point scorers, Sue. What do we have? Of course, Phil Crump, told you so sort of thing. You tipped him right from the start. Phil Crump with maximum points. Then where do we go from there?
Johnny Bolger's only dropped 1 point to Crump, so he finishes on 14 points. He had a perfect score up until his last ride, but he just wasn't good enough to match Phil. So Crump, Bolger. Next you have Mick McKeon. Mick had several good outings and he really opened up the lead in his third ride. He finished on 12. Then you have Danny Kennedy on 11 points, 4th. Robbie Maxfield, 5th on 10. Actually, Maxfield and Hitchcock have drawn level on 10 points. But on a countback, Maxfield should finish officially 5th and Hitchcock 6th.
Right.
Then you have Tim Noonan on 9 points. He'll be officially 7th. And then you have, of course, Lou Sansom and Mark Williams both drawing on 8 points for 8th position. So you've got actually 9 riders.
9 riders, the last
9
two.
riders, that's right. 98 qualify.
Right.
So since Sansom and Williams have drawn on 8, there'll be a runoff. Fortunately, that's the only runoff for the night.
Right, thanks Susie, and we'll be back in just a moment for that big runoff for 8th place. Of course, these 8 top riders going to Brisbane on February the 14th for the big Australian final, then the Australasian final on February the 28th at Liverpool and Sydney to represent Australia or Australasia in the preliminaries to the Big World Championship at Wembley in September. We'll be back in just a moment. Right, lining up now for this runoff. It is Heat 21, runoff for 8th place, and one of these riders will be staying home. We've got Lou Sansom. They toss for inside and outside position. Lou Sansom looks like he lost the toss coming off the boards. And down on the inside, we've got West Australia's Mark Williams. Heat 21. There we go. Lou Sansom sitting very erect on his bike. Cuts right across the nose of Mark Williams. It's a race into. There's 3 laps in this runoff. And around we go. Can Lou Sansom get a berth to go to Brisbane on February the 14th? So far, so good. Mark Williams Sansom nearly lost it there. He cut down into a soft spot on the inside of the track and nearly lost it. But a professional rider, spent a number of seasons in England, Lou Sansom, and his professionalism showing here. Round he comes again, but Mark Williams right in there, ready to pounce. Coming round again. Sansom this time goes a little bit higher than he did last time when he almost lost it. 1 lap to go. Lou Sansom from Mark Williams, and Williams right on his tail. Sansom only got to make one mistake and Williams will be right through. They both want a berth to Brisbane to represent the Southern Zone. Here we go. Mark Williams is trying to lay it in inside. I think he cooked it. He has. He's cooked his bike and it's gone. And Lou Sansom goes to Brisbane to represent the Southern Zone. And bad luck to Mark Williams. By golly, he almost took Lou Sansom there on that corner. He's laying his bike as flat as he could to come underneath Lou Sansom and just missed out. So it's Lou Sansom who makes the 8th rider to go to Brisbane in the Southern Zone final against the Northern Zone, where 8 riders will be selected from Australia to challenge New Zealand for the Australasian Zone final. Look at the bike of Mark Williams. He's blown it and he is so disappointed. He had it in his grasp.
Well, good evening, everybody. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Phil on his fine performance. He's going very quick. Also the other boys who got through. Also, of course, Taylor team and Ann Setter and Castrol have been behind me for a number of years now. That many I can't remember. Also, I'd like to thank Maxwell Motors, John Lewis, my cousin Pete who works there. He spent, I don't know, untold hours. I haven't got the time now. On my bike. It's not going bad. Also Jim, who's helped me, and if I've forgotten anybody else, thanks very much.
Thanks, John. Thanks, John. And third, all the way from Western Australia, Mick McKeon. Congratulations, Mick. I'm not going to do any more than put this on, though. Say a few words. Have a few words, yes.
Thanks very much, Bob. I'd like to thank the RDA from the Virginia Speedway for bringing us all over again this year. It's terrific that Ansett is still involved in Speedway, and also I'd like to congratulate the other guys for finishing up here tonight on the rostrum and the guys that have qualified. I don't know what Crumpy and Bolger said, but thanks for coming along and watching tonight, and I hope that you support the Virginia Speedway because they're a fantastic mob of people. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Mick. And fourth from Victoria, Danny Kennedy. Congratulations, Danny.
I'd just like to thank Ansett and Winfield for the sponsors tonight, and it's my first time on the new track over here and I really like it and I look forward to seeing us all again. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Danny. Now, give all big hand for all the winners for a tremendous evening.